How is it going today, guys? Hey, dogs. I'm out here in the beautiful De Villa Palmeiras Cemetery out in Santurce, Puerto Rico. And as you can see, we already got a stray dog encounter, and I just got here, which is pretty awesome. Stray dogs chill around here all the time, and this is definitely one of my favorite cemeteries of all time. And we're gonna start out in the back because the front was pretty full of people. So let's check it out, y'all. This is my first walk and talk since being in Puerto Rico, so I'm probably gonna be pretty rusty. No hands having Jesus. I'm right here in San Juan, so you're going to hear a lot of planes fly by. And this is one of my favorite cemeteries because it's like a part of a neighborhood. And this cemetery really is a good representation of the people here. It's a very big cemetery. And like I said, we're kind of at the back of the cemetery that doesn't really get a lot of attention, but to be honest with you, it's been upkept pretty good. It was a lot worse last time I was here. And it's just another neighborhood on the other side of this concrete wall here. This is literally the back of the cemetery, you guys. So much history out here in Santurce, Puerto Rico. And I'd have to say, if I could pick one spot on the island, it would be Santurce. It's gotta be my favorite place. I really love Ponce, and I love the west side, and Mayaguez and Aguada, and I really enjoyed Manatee as well, but there's just something special about this area and these neighborhoods. You know, they definitely just got a piece of my heart for sure. And RIP, we got a dead iguana on the scene. They love to live here in the cemeteries. They build little homes in the tombs. So you see them quite regularly, even more regularly than you see the stray dogs. And like I mentioned earlier, we have the no hands having Jesus standing here, and you're probably wondering, why are there so many Jesuses with no hands? Well, multiple reasons. The first reason being an earthquake or wind or something like that comes through, and well, the statue falls down and they have to go get it and pick it back up. But sometimes when it falls down, Jesus lands on his hands and they break off. And another rumor I heard is that there are a lot of Haitian immigrants here who practice voodoo as a religion. And the Jesus statue, his hands are really good incense burner holders and whatnot to use in rituals or, you know, whatever. I'm not just trying to make shit up. I don't really know 100% how it works, but it does kind of make sense. The Jesus hand is a good incense holder for you if you were going to, you know, do stuff like that. And I guess too, having a Jesus hand from a cemetery probably has some sort of creepy spiritual meaning in of itself. So that's why you'll see a lot of no hands having Jesuses around here. I'd say 70% of them are just because the statues fall down sometimes, but every once in a while it wouldn't surprise me if somebody came in here and broke a hand off. And as you can see, this cemetery is literally like in between two neighborhoods, and wouldn't it be cool to live here and you look out your window and you see this? How amazing is that? At least to me. Probably not to many others. Well, probably to anybody that's watching this, because you're watching it for a reason, right? If you like cemeteries. It's a beautiful statue there. There are a lot of beautiful statues in this old historic cemetery, and it goes on and on and on and on. It's at least a city block. It's probably two neighborhoods, one block, I would say. I'm just kind of walking through it now. Trying to be respectful of anybody that's here, though. I don't want to record them or put them on camera or, you know, invade their privacy while they're mourning their loved ones or cleaning the gravestone of their loved ones and, you know, stuff like that. There are some pretty nice houses on the other neighborhood too. It's not as bad as people think out here, really. Really does feel good to be back here, you guys. Like I said, this is like my second home. The Cementerio de Villa Palmeiras in Santurce, Puerto Rico. You guys can see just how big this cemetery is, and you know, there's a whole nother deal of graves over there too. We're just walking around half of the cemetery essentially right now. And like I said, I'm a little rusty. I haven't done a walk and talk for a while. I don't think I've ever done a walk and talk in Puerto Rico, and I'm still getting used to this weather. The last day that I was in Washington, we had a little snowstorm, and I was on a 5-hour walk to catch my plane here. So I went from being super cold, wearing 3 pairs of pants and 2 sweaters and a jacket, to now I can barely keep a pair of shorts and a t-shirt on. It's so damn hot and humid. And you can see how the humidity just messes with the concrete, not only on all of the tombs, but even the concrete walls here that separate the cemetery from the community. it's kind of sad too in a way. Wait till that plane passes us. It's sad too in a way because I think a lot of these graves have basically been not really forgotten but abandoned. And what I mean is that, you know, the municipality, they'll come by with the weed eater every once in a while and they do what they can, but as far as the maintenance and the upkeep on these graves, it's the family's responsibility. And as you can see, there's some graves that are maintained very well because the people still have family around, but it's like, when do you guys think the last time was that somebody came and visited this person? You know, whoever's buried here, they might not even have family on the island anymore. So this tomb probably hasn't been visited for 20, 30 years, maybe longer. And you can tell. And there are a lot of tombs like that around here because people come and go from Puerto Rico, you know. It's that's why it's called Puerto Rico. There's a lot of people coming in, a lot of people leaving, a lot of people coming in, a lot of people leaving all the time. And you know, you could get buried here and then 2 generations later, everybody in your family lives in New York or Florida or just wherever. And there's nobody left to come visit your grave and clean it up. And these always struck my interest too. What's the deal with the pipe crosses? Is it a financial thing? Is there a spiritual meaning behind it? Anybody from Puerto Rico that can answer me that one? Let me know in the comments, please, because the pipe crosses, I don't know, they're just kind of weird. Opening in the gate, or I guess you could sneak into the cemetery if you wanted to from this abandoned lot here. There used to be a house here probably, but now it's just an abandoned lot. Tell that that statue fell down and broke, huh? Yeah, you'll typically find like bleach containers and stuff all around these cemeteries too, because some of the families do still come and clean the graves of their loved ones and visit with them and whatnot. But everything's packed in pretty tight here. A lot of people buried here, a lot of history. This cemetery in particular also has some of my favorite headstones of all time, and we're about to go to one right now. If you have been following my channel, you've seen this headstone before because it's a special headstone to me. It's so beautiful. And they cut down the trees this year. Or there were a couple trees right here that were completely growing over the statue. Such a beautiful, timeless sculpture here. Such a good job on it. Well, let's keep heading towards the front because there's a lot of cool stuff in the front up here too, and then we'll try to loop around and do a walkthrough of the whole cemetery today. Geez, this is going to be another long video. I'm already 20 minutes in and still rambling on, but I haven't made it very far through the cemetery still. Just crazy. Look at this tree. Jeez. What a tree. And it must be hard taking care of these trees and stuff in here too. You can tell they're trying. They came and cut this one down last year. But then when you cut one down, another one shoots up. And another one. And 3 more. So good luck with all that. And there's a tree called a ceiba tree here in Puerto Rico, and they don't cut those down. So every once in a while you'll go into a cemetery and you'll see a ceiba tree that's just completely wrecking a couple of the graves, and they just kind of work around it because the ceiba tree is sacred to the Taino culture here in Puerto Rico. So as a rule of thumb, myself personally, I don't really climb trees around here because you might be climbing on one of their sacred trees, and I don't think they like that very much. In this cemetery too, one of the things that's just special about it to me is it's right in the heart of the action. You're surrounded by people. A lot of times the cemeteries will be like at the end of town or something, you know, and kind of away from everybody. But this cemetery is right in the middle of everything. There's a store right across the street from this cemetery. It's surrounded by neighborhoods. It was kind of like this in the historical cemetery in Humacao too, and I really enjoyed that aspect of it. Got a couple beautiful headstones up here too that I'm pretty excited to show you guys. Like I said, this is a good warm-up for me because I'm still getting used to the weather and the terrain and just getting myself trained up again. Remembering how to use my equipment. Yeah, now we're heading towards the front of the cemetery. So we've literally walked from the very back to the very front, at least on one side of it. Now, as you can see, we're right in civilization. love that headstone there too. Baby. Part of her crown is a little beat up, but other than that, she's looking pretty good. Such an amazing cemetery. It's all nice and sunny. It rained pretty good this morning. I woke up and I was like, damn, really? Are we gonna have one of those days? But it cleared up rather nicely. And it's turning in to be a pretty great day. I just wanted to get closer to this statue over here and show you guys real quick. Pretty amazing. This is one of my favorite headstones too. If you watch my channel enough, you've definitely seen that headstone. Maybe not in the sunshine like this, though. So awesome. That was a cool statue, and she still had her arm up in the air and stuff. And ooh, got a little iguana. Are we gonna catch him? No, he's gone. Darn it. This is the best headstone in the cemetery. I couldn't find out any information on the people who were buried here, but they were definitely prominent people at one time, because look at this freaking headstone. Wow. Just incredible. Incredible. So something that's interesting about these gravestones and the cemeteries here in San Juan especially, just because San Juan's such a packed in place and everybody wants to be here and there's only so much room. Like, these gravestones have essentially become like, what would you call it, real estate investment and speculation, just as much as it is like a place to go mourn your loved ones, because each one of these graves here carries a certain dollar amount in value, because as you can see, there's just not really much more room to bury very many people here. So if you were really certain that you wanted to be buried here, let's say your mother's buried here and you want to be buried next to her, basically really your only chance of that would be to, I don't know, get cremated and just have your ashes put in the tomb, or you can find the contact information of the family that has somebody buried in a tomb next to your mother's, and then you can buy that tomb from that family if they're willing to sell it, and then they'll remove their loved ones from the tomb and you can be buried in there, or somebody in your family or whatever. It was quite interesting. Oh, there's another no hands having Jesus. It was quite interesting because I was talking to this guy that was out here and he was cleaning his mother's grave, and he was looking at trying to do the same thing. He wants to be buried next to his mother when he passes away, but he is going to have to buy that spot from somebody else, and he was negotiating with them and whatnot. And I mean, it's going to cost him thousands of dollars to be buried next to his mother. So just kind of another interesting little tidbit that, you know, especially in like the most wanted parts of the cemetery, or if we're talking about like the Castle Cemetery in Old San Juan, I bet you a lot of those plots carry a very high dollar value to them, which is kind of interesting because, you know, this whole cemetery thing, it is a part of all of our cultures, I suppose, but it's still a business. And there's still financial aspects to it that need to be, you know, understood, to say the least. Is this a beautiful cemetery or what, though, you guys? This is definitely one of my favorites. I remember when I first landed in San Juan, and me and my buddies got an apartment literally like right down the street. We got an apartment it was like a 5-minute walk away from here, and I remember walking by this place on my way to the store, and I was just like, wow, I have to check that out. Then I came in and went to the top of the hill up there and looked back here, and I was like, holy crap. Because, you know, when I was doing this cemetery stuff in Washington, one of my things that I like to do was take a picture of every headstone. And as you guys can see, I had to give up that concept because I'd be here for 2 weeks trying to take photos of every single one of these headstones. And I tried at the castle, and I ended up just having to give up, you know, so I had to switch it up a little bit. And I know you guys haven't seen anybody on the camera, but boy, there's quite a few people visiting the cemetery today. Usually I'm completely by myself when I'm out here checking out the cemeteries, but there's a lot of family out here today. And I like that. I want to see the cemeteries make a comeback. These are like ancient, legendary places, and I wouldn't mind seeing more people here when I come to visit them, especially young people. I think like remembering the past and remembering your history and stuff is really important. And these cemeteries, all 50 or so of them that I've been to and photographed, they've really taught me a lot about Puerto Rico. I've been studying the Puerto Rican people and their culture through the cemeteries. And it's definitely given me a unique perspective that your average tourist probably won't get, you know. And speaking of culture, Puerto Rico, they love their musicians here. And this Mr. Rivera, he was one of the most famous musicians in Puerto Rico. Think of him as like the Bad Bunny of the olden days, but even more popular in a sense, because gosh, people didn't have much to do back in the day besides listen to music, right? And there's another famous singer buried up front, and I kind of walked by his grave, dang it, because he was important too. There's two very important musicians that are buried here. Gonna have to wrap this one up soon, you guys. My dumb ass didn't even bring any water with me, and I'm starting to feel like I'm ready for some water, so I'm gonna have to go to the gas station and get me a gallon of water. I was just so excited to come out here because the rain stopped and the sun came out. Nice and windy, not too hot, maybe 80 degrees out here. That humidity though, it's gonna take my body a week or so to adapt to this humidity. Cage Jesus. There's so many different Jesuses in these old Catholic cemeteries in Puerto Rico. It's amazing. See the neighborhood on the other side of the fence. I really love the neighborhoods of San Truce too. Like, seems like it's on the up and up though. Everything's doing a little better than it was a couple years ago when I was here. It's another no hands having Jesus. Continue to march to the front, and then we'll get out of here, and I'll get a drink of water, and you know what, I'll try to make these walk and talks better for you guys in the future. I know I'm kind of lazy with all this, but you know, I'm still recovering from getting here. It was a long 13-hour flight, and then I walked for like 9 hours yesterday. I walked from the airport to Bayamon, where I am staying for a couple days. And they got street lights in this cemetery. What's up with that? Where, when, why, and how would they have street lights in the cemetery? And this one's on over here. You probably can't tell, but yeah, it's just strange. See it? It's crazy. So many cool headstones here. It's truly incredible. It really is. As you can see, this cemetery is right in the heart of the people. There's life going and things are moving all around this cemetery. Dang, she lost her head. I bet you that was a beautiful statue back in the day. Pretty much what the entrance looks like. You walk up that road and go up that hill and then head down. And yeah, pretty beautiful cemetery though, huh guys? Show you guys the sign out here. Cementerio Municipal San Jose de Villa Palmeras. And that's my walk and talk for today. I hope you guys enjoyed it. And like I said, next time I'll try to do a better job.